Hey, everybody. Welcome to our first episode of Matinée Social, where you, our ticket holders, join us while we discuss Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey and the trailer to Other Mommy. I am your host, Chris, and this is my co host, Cass. So, without further ado, grab your seats and some popcorn. Let's go. The Odyssey, which was done by Christopher Nolan, based on um, the book The Odyssey, written by Homer, made $51 million on its first Friday out in theaters on North American screens, 3,919 screens. It starred Matt Damon, Robert Pattinson, Tom Holland, Zendaya, of course, Elliot Page, and Shiloh Fernandez. I know both you and I went to go see it when it first came out, on its first weekend out. What were your thoughts on the Odyssey, how it was portrayed, things of that nature?
Thank you, Chris, for asking my opinion in this particular matter. See, I saw Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey last Sunday in the afternoon. It was a sunny day, and I was full of hope and optimism that this movie would be enjoyable. And I was pleasantly surprised that it was indeed enjoyable. I've very much enjoyed Christopher Nolan's forays into cinema, from Memento to Insomnia, his Batman trilogy. I didn't care for Interstellar too much. That was
What?
just a lot. So it's like I don't know whether it was the Matthew McConaughey of it all, or
Oh my
maybe it's
God.
just didn't vibe with me. But it's okay. Some movies you're going to see, and they're not going to work for everyone, and that's quite all right. But the Odyssey definitely worked for me. I did enjoy it. Recency bias would probably have it in my top five. However, I'll have to have a second viewing to see if it still sits there. Definitely, I think it was a more enjoyable film when Oppenheimer, but again, recency bias and just, having seen Oppenheimer a couple of times, I did
Mhm.
thoroughly enjoy it. But again, how this ultimately sits for me later on, I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. But
Must you?
what's your Chris? It was like, how did you feel about the Odyssey? What are your initial thoughts on it?
You are so simple. Um, I was actually impressed, honestly, by it. I thought it initially, I was kind of scared to watch it because I thought it might have been a little ambitious, if I'm being honest. Um, but it, the things that were portrayed throughout the course of them, like, I don't think, like, and when I say ambitious, I mean because obviously something of that breadth can be a little much, like it might be too big, obviously, to do. Hit I think he did it perfectly. I think he didn't try and go for the effects that were obviously going to be something more difficult, more too difficult for us, the viewers, to believe. And I think all the things that he could do that were in his power to do the effects well, where it didn't come off looking tacky, I think that was done perfectly fine. I think the acting, all of the actors were amazing. Um, Initially, Tom Holland, I he felt, and I know I'm gonna probably get some hate for this. He felt maybe a little stiff in the role, but I think he did it well. If ultimately watching the whole thing, initially that was my initial thought. Will you stop? That was my initial thought, but I think that he did it well. I think they all did amazing. I know for me, when I was in the theater, toward the end, when Odysseus finally made himself known to everyone in the room, I had people in our theater applauding. I'm just curious if that happened with you as well, or anything similar.
No, in my theater, being a little bit more civilized, I believe, moviegoers, when we saw it on Sunday, There was no applauding. You could feel some amount of tensions towards those final scenes as he was in the feast hall, and it was like, oh no, what's going to happen? There were people where you could feel like the tension in the air was a little bit palpable, but there were no gasp or rousing of cheers at that particular scene at all. And I think that was just because, you know, a Sunday audience is typically a little bit more reserved and
Mm-hmm.
cerebral when they go see these movies as opposed to your Friday night shenanigans. And no, it was quiet. It was like it was fine. Nobody really, there were no cheers or applause or anything else. So, like I think, like the vibe I got, people were wrapped up in the actual story
Yeah.
of it and what was going on the screen. So it's like, and then also for the movie itself, it doesn't feel like it was one of those like not a typical summer action blockbuster where you're cheering out for the hero popping up or the last second save. It didn't feel like that type. So I don't know
Mm-hmm.
whether these were Nolan aficionados that were seeing this movie or just, folks that were like, oh, okay. Like from chatter after the movie, there were some people that were definitely familiar with the Odyssey and the
Mm-hmm.
Iliad, and it was like, and they were talking amongst themselves, breaking down things that changed, what was different, what was not. I
Mm-hmm.
am not overly familiar with that stuff. I remembered certain things, like the stuff with Cersei. I remember the stuff with the
Mm-hmm.
Cyclops. I remember the sirens, of course. I remembered that, but there were other bits and pieces of stuff that is like I did not remember from the original text, so I could not say what he actually changed, what was kept. It was like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not, like I'm not well versed in Homer to be able to have that conversation. But
Mm-hmm.
like I do feel like you that he made the right call on doing the effects as practically as possible for what
Mm-hmm.
he could do. So it's like I applaud him for that. I liked everybody's performances. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't feel like Tom Holland to me is like I'm just used to him as Spider Man, and it was
Okay.
like and really like that's when I see him.
Oh,
It was like a lot of times, sometimes because he did such a good job with that as Peter
and
Parker.
but
It's like a lot of times when I see him, and I was like, "Oh, look, it's Spider Man. He's here." And it was like,
he's
"Hey,
the
Spidey, what's going on?" And it was like, but I thought he did a really good job of the
mm-hmm.
role he played.
Mm-hmm.
Robert Pattinson, I'm coming around to him actually being a very, very good actor. It's
Strong
like
actor,
he
yeah.
was somebody, yeah, he was somebody that I had kind of had a bias for because of the Twilight stuff, and that's not his fault. That was more on me. And I was like, oh, he's doing sparkly vampire stuff. Well, miss me with that because I was like, I ain't got some time for that. But it was like, I think he was a very competent Batman. It was like
Mm-hmm.
when he played that role. I liked him in Tenet and just other things that I've seen him in. I
Mm-hmm.
think he has done an excellent job.
Mm-hmm.
So, Rob, if you happen to be watching this, sorry, I pigeonholed you. I didn't mean to. It
Aw.
was like, Tom, sorry. It was like you're a great actor too. Sorry,
He
I
is
pigeonholed
a great he is a great I think
I'm not forgiving you for Uncharted, Tom. But at the same
oh
time, it was like
well
you should have that.
I think I understand that he was supposed to be meek, or reserved maybe is a better word, while he was there. And I don't know. Like I said, I mean, overall, he did a great job. And that was my initial while I was still in the movie theater, while we were still in those first few minutes of his character. That's initially how I felt. But like I said, as the movie went on, I think overall, all of the cast did an amazing job. I think everybody did well. And even like I said, his character, I think he did awesome. I, again, I was just amazed at how well they pulled it off, because this could be, for I feel like in anyone else's hands, someone that is not a Christopher Nolan, it would have come off as tacky. It's
I
like
think,
too harsh
yeah,
of a term, or it just would not have played the same visually with how the actors made themselves those particular characters, how they carried the characters, um, just everything from the visual effects, like I said, even the Cyclops that they had, right? That didn't look tacky. That didn't look bad. Like I think that was well done. I think everything was just so well done. But again, I think in the hands of someone else, it would not have come across the same way. I think they would have tried to go for gold, and would have just overdone it.
Like I think
And they say
somebody.
less is more
Oh,
sometimes.
sorry. Yeah, I think
No.
somebody else doing this, they would have probably tried to do it more like Lord of the Rings or something. And I don't think
Okay.
it lends itself to that. It's like you would
Mhm.
have had, it was like instead of the Cyclops in the cave, the Cyclops would have been in a broke down castle somewhere. Like Cersei would have been throwing lightning bolts to turn people into pigs or something like
Mhm.
that. I was like, I
Mhm.
think that would have been, it would have been called the Odyssey, but it would have been kind of like, is this the Odyssey or is this the Fast and the Furious with a boat? That was like, I think you would have
Oh.
had some. I think you would have, like, I think a different director would have had a different vision for it and not have
Right.
been, um, I guess, as respectful, let's say,
Mhm.
to something else.
Mhm.
Oh, and to our audience,
Politically.
just real quick, because like I apologize that we didn't give, a spoiler warning and anything else. But in this case, it is 400 years old, the story. So if you have not read the Odyssey, if you have not stumbled across any movies, if you haven't even looked at the Brad Pitt Troy, I apologize in advance, but maybe in a future show we'll talk about spoiler culture and how, what the proper etiquette could be. But for right
Mhm.
now, the story
For
is
this,
400 years
I
old.
think we're good. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think we're good.
like I
Well,
thought
I
I'd take
even well for me because I've read um you know, obviously Iliad, Odyssey. I've read Circe, and Achilles. So I'm not gonna lie, especially when they got to Circe, I was hoping that he may have given like a little bit more detail or background to that, only because I did enjoy that book. But I can understand it was impossible for him to go into too much detail, especially with all the different quests, adventures, however you choose to label them. I mean, it would have been much more than the 3 hour film that it was already. So I think um, again, I'll just say like he knocked it out of the park. He knew where to draw the lines in each of the stories, and not drag it out. Give you enough so that you got the full breadth, or enough of it to understand what was going on, but not to belabor the storyline. So I think, yeah, I think he did well. I think it was
yeah,
an amazing film. And yeah,
yeah.
not sure what else to say with
Yeah,
it.
like he did great. Like I said, the actors were great. John
Mhm.
Bernthal, as like I enjoyed
Mhm.
a lot, like from his brief stint in The Walking Dead to like other shows and movies that he's been in. I really enjoy
Mhm.
his performances. I thought Lupita Nyong'o was great as
Mhm.
Helen,
Absolutely.
especially when she lunged at Agamemnon and murked him. The look on her face was freaking. I was like, Jesus Christ! I was
Yeah,
like,
I
remember
think she did well. Yeah.
you didn't see that coming? I was like, I know she was pretty close, but God, I was like, what are
Yeah.
you doing? So him, and then Anne Hathaway was
Mhm.
impressive as well. So it was like, to the ladies, wonderful job. To the
Mhm.
guys in it, also, wonderful job. John Leguizamo, it was like he was great. So it was like, not John Leguizamo. Oh, who the hell am I thinking of?
Who are
Shit.
you thinking of?
Yeah, because I got his name wrong, so I apologize. But no, I think that's right. I don't know. So it was like, so everybody did a great job. So it's like I will say, like I definitely will say that. Like I'm glad that, it's one of those rare movies that you're seeing
Mhm.
it, like going to see it. I'm happy it came out. It's like ecstatic that it'll probably reach $1 billion by Monday.
Hmm.
Um, so it's like, hats off to Christopher Nolan. He did mention like, he was like a fan of that other movie Obsession that I haven't seen yet. And he said
Hmm.
that he's kind of tailored the idea of making a horror movie. To that, I say he's going to kill somebody because between the audience and some of the actors and everybody else, if Christopher Nolan makes a horror movie with the way that he does some other stuff, it's going to be a problem for a
Hmm.
lot of folks. Because like the scene with Hell was amazing. It was like when Odysseus was in Hell, is like that was freaking
Yeah.
amazing. So it's like
Hmm.
I would like to see him do a horror movie just to see what he does, because like
Hmm.
kind of done a little bit, like he hasn't done a western yet. So and most of the time, it's like a director seems to hit three things: a western, some kind of sci-fi fantasy thing, and the regular crime drama, something else. So he's got two of those under his belt already. So it's like if he was, well, like he's got the sci-fi stuff, he's done the crime movie kind of like with Batman, which can double as that. But if he was to do a western or friggin' do a friggin' horror movie, like I would be curious to see what that even looks like.
Mm. A
But
horror flick. I think if I had my choice, I'm partial to horror flicks. Um, so I would prefer that he would tackle the horror
oh,
flick.
that's what he
Yeah.
mentioned. So it's like I'm all for it.
Yeah.
He do a horror movie as long as it's rated R. It's like I'm here for it. It
Oh
was
yeah.
like, give me a rated R. It's like don't give me. I did a horror movie and it's PG
PG
13. It's like
13. Yeah.
it's like I'm not saying they can't be scary, but at the same time,
Right. Yeah.
at the same
No.
time, I'm going. There's
Yeah.
certain things that you can do in an R-rated movie that you can't get away with in a PG-13, and I
Right.
want to do everything that you can get away with in an R-rated movie. If I'm going to watch it, let's just
Yeah.
do this again. So
Yeah.
I would like to see him tackle a horror movie. It was like Western. All right.
Hmm.
It was like, but it was like I'd like to see him. Like if he tackles a horror movie, I'd like to see what that would look like.
All right. Well, speaking of horror flicks, we're gonna move on into the trailer of Other Mommy, starring Jessica Chastain, and I'm gonna let you lead off on this one.
Okay, so they showed the trailer for Other Mommy before the Odyssey.
Hmm.
And trailer starts out with a little girl and looks like she's just sneaking to try and have some ice cream for dinner, like as little
Hmm.
kids do. It was like she looks about 9, 10 years old. Mom comes in the kitchen. It's a very nice kitchen. And she was like, "Hey, are you gonna have
Hmm.
ice cream?" And I don't know what this trailer is. So I thought it
Hmm.
was gonna be a thing of, mommy daughter bonding time. We're gonna have ice cream together. So
Right.
no, mommy goes to the sink, throws a little bit of water in the pan, and put some pasta in the pan. And I'm like, my first thought is like, that is not enough water, man. I'm gonna need you
That's
to
what
put a
I
little water in
said.
there. So then she's burning the pasta. And another question I got is, how hot does this stove, the eyes on the stove, get? Because that pasta was burning pretty fast.
Burn. She must
And
have
so
put
it's
it on
like,
a
and
hill.
like she was like she was on the stove for like 45 minutes, and they still having a conversation. So it was relatively quick. And she's talking to the daughter, and the way she's looking at her, it was like, oh, this ain't good. This ain't
Mm-mm.
good. So a
Mm-mm.
little girl is like, I'm like, little girl, you might want to back up or something. Then dad comes in innocently enough. It was like, oh, something burning on the stove? What's going on? And she was like, oh, mommy was cooking something or whatever. And then dad looks around. Then you turn under the table. Jessica Chastain folded up in some weird position, looking at everybody. Now, anybody who's watching this right now, I ask you to go watch that trailer. You'll
If you
see
haven't seen it
30
yet. Yeah.
seconds what I'm talking about. Yes, if you have not seen it yet. So then the rest of the trailer plays out where it's like, okay, so you assume the way she's folded up under the table is some kind of supernatural thing, or maybe she's in a circus. I don't know.
Mhm.
What I'm saying is some kind of supernatural nonsense. So I looked up the log line later of what the movie
Mm.
is about. And like
Okay.
first, it's based on a book that was released in 2024
Oh,
by
okay.
Josh Mallerman. And I can't. I should have wrote down the title of the book, so I apologize. But then
Oh.
basically, it's Chastain stars as a mom who is protecting her daughter from a
Mhm.
monster or a demon that looks just like her. So she's protecting her daughter from a demon that looks like mom, And so I guess this is going to be one of those things that you're not going to know which is which until like
Yeah.
what's going on. But I got some other questions.
Uh-oh.
First of all, what did that girl do that a demon rolled up and said, "Hey, buddy, I'm going to make your life in particular terrible"? That was like, what was this girl doing? Or, maybe I guess it's more to the point, what did the mom do that the demon's trying to get the girl? But like for me, I didn't read the book, obviously, because I didn't have the title of it. But I'd really like to know, or I would really like, I think it'd be an interesting twist if the daughter did something and opened up some kind of Evil Dead Pandora's box thing, and it's like, oh, well, this is no good. This is no good.
Not at all.
I was like, I did something, but I'm afraid to tell you. Oh, what'd you do, dearie? It was like, you might want to come in the kitchen, under the table.
Well, it's
like,
for me, it was like, so like you said, when the mom first came home, it looked like she came home for lunch from work or what have you, just to spend a few minutes with the daughter and try and make her something to eat for lunch or whatever. And the daughter was hiding like ice cream or what have you behind her back. And I'm like, okay, this is, cute. But once we did get to, because I had the same reaction to the amount of water that she put in the pot. I'm like, you hardly put, like, and it was like, that's not enough for making pasta. But then when she started asking her those series of questions, and then the look on her face was terrifying. Like it didn't even look, and I'm not even including the look on her face when the father crouched down to talk to the daughter about making pasta, and he found her crumpled up under the table and threw himself through the sliding glass window in the kitchen.
Like what the fuck is going on? Like, the language and everything, but it was like, yo, why are you under the table like this?
Right.
So it was like, even as a demon, it's like, oh, my bad, I got a little aggressive.
Yeah.
And the name of the book is Incidents Around the House.
Okay.
So I looked it up. I apologize for that. And from that title, I would not guess that that's what this was.
Other mommy. Yeah, no.
Like Incidents Around the House. Oh, here's a book, it's like, I'm
Here's
sure it's got like a, a cute little girl on the front of the book with, some things. And it's like, no, well, I haven't seen it. But like, I would like to hope, because then I could gift it to somebody. Oh, here's a book, Incidents Around the House. Oh, this should be a fun read to freak somebody out and reading into it. But yeah, it was like, that trailer was, that was a lot. It was like, it was definitely one of those trailers. It did its job. It made me curious of like, the hell was this?
It made me curious, but not curious enough to go watch it.
Like the movie releases October 9th, so right around the time of Halloween. So they do have a good spot. They did put it in a good spot. I would have probably tried to release it in 2027 around Mother's Day weekend, but that's just me, because why not? It was like, why? It was like Other Mommy. It was like, oh, let's go see it. It was like, oh, let's go see the movies with like Other Mommy. It was like freaked out. The mom sitting there is like, that's right. And I'm going to clean your room.
No, sir. No.
Yes. Okay. Or it's like it comes out October 9th. So it's around Halloween when it hits streaming and the Blu-ray when the physical release, Mother's Day weekend.
I would prefer.
Just in time for Mother's Day. Okay. Other Mommy.
Okay. Well, all right. So, I don't have anything else to discuss. Is there anything else that you'd like to discuss? Anything that you're watching, looking out for? Anything that you're waiting to come out?
There's a ton of stuff waiting to come out, and everything else. It was like I watch a lot of anime. It's like I play video games on occasion. So there's a lot.
Which we will be talking about, ladies and gentlemen, on future our future YouTube. So yeah.
It's like it's Comic-Con weekend. So watch out for future shows, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to have some opinions on some stuff.
Ooh, okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our ticket holders, thank you so much for joining and watching us. And if you like this episode, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe, just so that we can, get some viewers going on. So we really appreciate you guys, and hope to see you next time. All right.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Cheers, guys.